Hey everyone, it's Erin Floto here, and I am here to show you today how to blend lettering. So I'm talking about blending two different colors together or doing some sort of ombre effect for your lettering. So this is a how-to video. I started these like way back when I did like a hand lettering 101 series, but I only did 2 parts to that. So I'm going to keep going because a lot of you have asked me for more tutorials. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. I have my Archer and Olive Neopolitan journal here because I want to show you a few different mediums of blending lettering. So I'm focusing mostly on tombows, but I'm also going to show you how to blend a couple other different types of pens like jelly rolls and things like that as well. I'm going to save Archer and Olive for a whole different video for her pens. So I'm just going to show you some tombows, jelly rolls, etc. So let's get on into it. So one of the first ways you can start blending is my first method, which is using a gray pen. So you use the gray pen as a base and then do the ombre effect over that and blend using that method. So I'm going to go ahead and put Monday, and then I'm going to start with my darker pen and then slowly get into it using my lighter pen. So how I like to do it is just do flicks down. Now the Archer and Olive paper is pretty absorbent, so I like to do each section at a time versus go through and do the entire top or the entire bottom. So you can see I'm just blending in a little bit there, and sometimes I like to go back over the top to make sure that section is darker. And so I'm just going to keep doing that on all of the sections where I have my darker top. And then I do an ombre blending into the bottom of the pen. Now, even though this is a heavy weighted paper, you don't want to overwork the paper, especially if you have an uncoated paper. It does not work well if you are going really heavy. So I like to do these light flicks, and that has seemed to work out for me so that I'm not overworking the paper and tearing it up. And I always stop on the downstroke so that I don't overwork the bottom either. So I stop right at the bottom, and then I will go back doing the same method. Picking up right in the middle there, and then going down, and then continuing to go down and there as well. I don't like to do upstrokes, so typically I always stop right at that bottom. Method number 2 is to do the same thing, but not use the gray pen. So I'm just going to use a lighter pen and a darker pen. I'm going to put the lighter pen first and then blend. So you can see with this method, it uses that same exact concept, but the pens that you are blending with are the actual pens that you'll be using. So this darker blue on top and this lighter blue on the bottom, and then I use the lighter blue to pick it up. And I think that that creates a little bit less like rough edges that you can see on some of these because you're using that lighter blue. The third method I like to use is using an acrylic block. So this can work with ceramics as well, and these like acrylic blocks. It will not really work. They also have like blending palettes and things like that, but it will not really work with other types of materials like plasticky types of materials. It can, but I find that the acrylic block and the ceramics work the best. So what you're going to do when you do an acrylic block is this is less of an ombre and more of blending the colors together to create a new color. So if I just put down some of this purple, and you want to make sure you put enough down that you can see it like beading up like this, and use another pen to pick up that color. You see you can get this really cute purple to blue gradient, and you can do that on either side. If I just stuck with doing it on one side, then you'll see how I did it here. But if I do the entire pen, you'll see it slowly go from more of a purple to a blue. Instead of doing the gradient top to bottom, you'd be doing the gradient left to right. Now the same method as the acrylic block, it gives the same effect, is touching the pens together. So you would take the darker color onto the lighter color and literally just color on top of it. This does not ruin the nib. It does not ruin the color. It will blend out over time because of the type of water soluble pens these are. And you can see it gives that exact same gradient effect. Now you want to make sure that the colors are distinguishable. So these are two much darker colors. So you can kind of see the gradient in there, but it's not as prevalent as the lighter color. So I typically suggest, if you're going to use this type of method, to use some sort of pastel colors or some that have very drastic contrast, such as these two blues were pretty drastic in their contrast here. And the last method I'm going to mention is using this acrylic block with a water pen. So these are the Penta Aquash pens. There's a ton of different versions out there as well. And you use the Aquash pen to pick up those colors. Now, apparently I didn't clean this one, so we might get a little bit of glimmery red in there as well, apparently. Yep, glimmery red as well. So apparently I did not clean this brush pen up before using it, but you know what? That just created a really cool effect. So use a clean water brush pen and you can do that same method with the acrylic block and picking up a little bit of each and doing that blending lettering as well. So those are all of the 6 methods that I'm talking about for the white paper with using the tombows. And now I'm going to go over into the black paper of this Archer Olive, Neapolitan, and use the jelly rolls. So jelly rolls are a little bit different than the tombows. There's not a ton of different methods of doing this, but I have found a good way of doing the jelly rolls is using a lot of ink. And I will show you what I mean by that. So when you are blending using this, if I put down my word, and let's say that I want to blend these parts, these thicker parts over here. Best way to do this is to leave a lot of ink. So I suggest doing a tap method. It puts down a lot of ink and it keeps it from drying quickly. And then you can take a different color. So I am taking a darker red color and blending it down. Maybe that wasn't the best color to choose. I'm going to take a purple color and blend it down and see if that works a little bit better. Usually when I do this, I do not use the jelly roll as the bottom color, so that might be causing an issue. Oh no, it was just a color. So you want to leave a lot of ink down for this type of blending. And when you're holding the jelly rolls, the best way to get a lot of ink out is to hold it straight up and down. And for jelly rolls, it doesn't really matter if you're doing the darker or the lighter first. It's going to blend pretty much the same way because of the type of ink that you're using. Yeah, I put down so much ink on the first one. So I love using this method with headers. So you do regular coloring, and then when you're ready to switch, you just load that up with ink. And then you take your other pen so it can pick up that ink and blend. So you have to remember with jelly rolls, it does take a long time. I find that the metallics work the best. However, you can do it with the Moonlight collection as well. And I do find that the 10s work better than the 6s because you're just able to get more ink on that size tip versus the tip of the 6s. So it also works for the jelly roll. Like I said, I just find that it works better with the metallics. But that could just be a personal preference. And with jelly rolls, you do not need to press down very hard. That's something that I think a lot of people forget is with this type of tip, you want to like lightly dust the surface. Dust the surface like you're cleaning with jelly rolls. And you can go back through a couple times. These may not have been the prettiest colors to try to blend. Let's try some prettier colors. Okay, that worked much better. I think it's just because it's two colors that like each other a little bit more. So those are some jelly roll examples. And you can also do that obviously with the craft notebook paper, with the white paper. Jelly rolls work on pretty much everything. And there we have it, a bunch of ways to blend your lettering. So we have using the gray pen as a base and doing the ombre. We have using the lighter pen as the base and doing the ombre. We can use an acrylic block. We can touch the tips of the pen, and then we can also use a water pen. Or when you're talking about jelly rolls, you do the tap, tap, tap method and then blend out from there to create a lot of ink in that concentrated area where you are doing the blending, and then using the other pen to pick it up and blend from there. So those are some different ways of doing blending. I hope this was informative for you. You can easily do this type of method with headers, with lettering, any sorts of things that you were putting pen to paper, and doodling, all that kind of stuff. So I hope that this was an informative video for you. Please let me know what other tutorials you would like to see from my channel. Again, I would love to keep this Tutorial Tuesday going for the foreseeable future. So please let me know some ideas that you have in the comments down below. And my question for the day is, what is your favorite method that I showed you today? Is it using a brush pen? Is it using the water pen? Is it using an acrylic block? What is your favorite method? Do you love using jelly rolls exclusively? I would love to know in the comments below as well. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that kind of jazz. And I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.